Hi everyone, welcome to this video on TutorialsPoint. Today our topic of discussion is going to be on campus to corporate. Well, key to a successful career, and wouldn't all of us want to have a successful career? Today we are going to talk about having a smooth transition from the campus to the corporate world. Well, campus and corporate, these are two different entities, and a lot of expectations are there from the campus and from the corporate world. In the campus, some of the words which define a campus career or campus world would be friends, enjoyment, having a laid-back attitude, picnics, parties, etc. Well, when you enter into the corporate world, there are expectations out of you. There is a job, there are some responsibilities, meetings, deadlines, projects, team members, team workers, bosses, managers, etc. Well, not to worry, we are here to guide you to have a smooth transition into the corporate world. Looking at the agenda today, we will have an overview of the corporate culture, the need for making a change. So what is the need? Why do we need to change into a corporate world? We will discuss that. How to fit in? Well, when we are talking about how to fit in, you need to make yourself comfortable into the corporate world. Etiquette and manners. I cannot really specify how important etiquette and manners are in the corporate world. The corporate attire, we will discuss on this. Accountability and responsibility, one of the major aspects of a corporate world. The rules of business communication. Here we will talk about email etiquette, business writing, and everything related with our corporate culture. Tips to success in a corporate culture. So we will talk about all of these topics in a lot of detail now. So what are we waiting for? Let's get started. Well, as a newcomer, there are a lot of challenges that you might face. A campus to corporate transition calls for a big adjustment for a lot of graduates. Well, let's understand what these challenges could be. There might be some adjustment issues. Now, as an adjustment issue, what I'm really trying to say here is that you might have to adjust to new people, new bosses, new managers, and basically a different set of people. You might face some adjustment issues. Confidence in the ability to perform. As a newcomer, you might question your own self-belief in yourself of having less of confidence. Meeting the goals of a company. Well, you might have certain targets and certain goals which you need to fulfill for the company. Peer pressure can be another challenge for a newcomer. Expectation and responsibilities are very different from a campus to that of a corporate. We need to understand these expectations and responsibilities in a better manner. As a newcomer, you will be working individually as well as being a team player. We have to learn how to handle both these in a very nice manner. There will be a new environment, and with a new environment comes new learning. So these are certain challenges that you might face as a newcomer, but I would just like to say one word, and that is be optimistic and believe in yourself. Well, the very first day at work is very exciting, at the same time can be very unnerving and overwhelming. Let's understand how to make the first day at work, leaving everybody else with a good impression of yourself. So what are the things we need to do? We need to dress for success. In our video of grooming, hygiene and makeover, we have also discussed how you need to dress for success. Certain clothing, certain accessories, anything and everything which will help you be successful at work. Set your space. When we set your space, we already mean to say that wherever you will be working, your workstation or your desk area, you need to understand that this is your space. So how do you maintain and organize your space at work? Lay low and listen. It's important on the very first day, you should not talk very loudly. You should not attract too much of attention on yourself. So I would like to just say, keep a low profile and try to listen as much as you can. Nail down the names. Well, on the very first day, if you are able to remember few people's names and call them by their names, it can definitely be a good first impression of yourself. Important it is to take a breather, relax, breathe. On your very first day, don't get too much anxious and don't get too much hyper. Try to relax and breathe normally. Last but not the least, it's very important to thank the office assistants. Try and thank all of the people who help you in your first day. The peons, the maids, whoever is there at the office, it's important to be humble and nice to everybody. Well, there is something which is known as a 6H model for a corporate world. We will discuss these 6 things or 6 factors which will help you have a smooth transition into the corporate world. Honesty. Well, just would like to say that honesty is the best policy. Nobody likes being around people who are dishonest. When you are entering into the corporate world, please be honest to yourself and to your work. Be humble. Humility is something that is always looked up upon. Never look down on people. Speak to people in a nice manner, polite manner. Try and be as humble as you can. It really works. Well, hard work is something that we cannot do without in a corporate world. While it's important to work hard, I would also like to add work smartly. Human values are very important. Know what your values and principles are. Know what your integrity is and never compromise on those values. Hunger. Well, here I'm not talking about the food hunger, but what I'm trying to make you understand is hunger to learn, hunger to achieve, and hunger to really be a leader. That's something which will help you in the corporate world. Health is wealth. Let's understand how to keep ourselves healthy. We don't want you falling sick whenever you go into work. So try and maintain your health as much as you can. These are certain behavioral traits which is expected out of an employee. When you are entering a corporate world, nobody will tell you you need to behave like this. It's something that you have to do for yourself. So let's understand what the behavioral traits are. Be self-motivated. Do not look for motivation from outside. Try and be your own leader. Try and be your own motivator. Competitiveness. Yes, there will be a lot of competition into the corporate world. So try and have healthy competition. Do not try to put someone down just to put yourself as a winner. Try and have healthy competition. Be approachable. Nobody likes being around a person who's very snooty. So try having an approachable attitude, a positive attitude, and people will come flocking to you. Have good leadership skills. Have a lot of patience. It's important to have patience when you are at work. Don't throw tantrums, don't lose your temper. Be patient around everybody and everybody. Optimistic. Try and have a positive state of mind. Don't ever think into a negative zone. Try and see even in the negative things a positive thing. And that will make your life in the corporate world as beautiful as you want it to be. These are important words: accountability and responsibility. These are some of the things which are expected by an employer into an employee. Let's understand what these terminologies are. Well, if I have to define accountability, responsibility is employees accepting the power being given to them and the obligation to perform. So a manager or your leader might assign you some work and you have the responsibility to make sure that you accomplish your task. Well, on the other hand, accountability is nothing but taking ownership for those actions which might be assigned to you or which might not be assigned to you. In rather one word, I would like to say responsibility is given to you. Accountability is something that you take on yourself. Employees are accountable for each other, bosses, customers, investors or stakeholders. So these are people whom you might be accountable for. You need to make sure that you maintain your decorum and also have accountability, ownership for all that you do at your workplace. How do you take personal accountability? Let's understand that. Be on time. Nobody will tell you if you are not on time, but it's important to have your own punctuality. Try and reach office at least 15 minutes before your actual time of reporting, and that's something that is going to speak a lot on your professionalism. Don't call in ill when all is well. Well, I would not say that be dishonest about it. If you are genuinely ill, then it's okay to take a sick leave. But if you're all well and just want to bunk office, don't do that by calling in sick. Do what is expected out of you. Don't always crib and complain of too much of work, extra workload and everything. Try and do whatever is expected out of you in a positive attitude. During work hours, work only. Now this is an important point. During work hours, do not play video games or do not chat with your friends for long hours on the phone. At your workplace, it is time to work. These are things which you can do after your office hours, and this is something which will hold you responsible and accountable for. Well, cubicles and workstations are the most important areas at a workplace, and we need to make sure that we are keeping certain decorum and respecting each other, cubicle places as well as workstations. So respect each other's privacy. Whenever you want to go to another person's cubicle or workstation, it's important to take permission and not just barge in whenever you feel like. No loud noises. It's important not to play loud ringtones or music at workstations. Remember, you might be disturbing somebody who might be working on an important project. Distractions that interrupt or annoy others. Do not do anything, any activity or anything, any behavior from your side which might disrupt people, interrupt them and annoy them. Do not irritate co-workers. Take permission before entering others' cubicles. It's important to knock before you enter somebody's private area. Do not take others' items without asking. It's very essential to understand just because you took somebody's pen and pencil in college times, it's not the same that is going to happen at workplace. Whenever you want to use anybody else's stationery items, for example, always take permission. May I use the pen, please? Avoid eating at workstations. It's important not to start treating your workstation as a canteen or a cafeteria. Do not eat at your workstation. There is a designated area in the office for the same. Well, the corporate attire, certain do's and don'ts. Again, this is something that we have discussed in the grooming and personal hygiene module. A quick recap of the same. We need to make sure that we are dressed up very appropriately at workplace. We need to make sure we are wearing crisp and clean shirts. Our trousers should be in contrast with our shirts. So if I'm wearing a white color shirt, I need to make sure that I wear a black or a brown color of trouser. We need to understand that there should not be any stains or any kind of marks on our shirts and trousers. Please make sure that they are clean and ironed well. We need to make sure that our shoes are polished and should not look tattered. It's important to wear good pair of clean socks only. When it comes to accessories, do not wear fancy buckle belts and don't over accessorize yourself. It's important to play down on accessories for men as well as the women. This module which we will be talking about is one of the most important module in the campus to corporate world. Well, what we are talking about is etiquette and manners. In a corporate world, there are certain expectations which are out of you, which is expected. Let's understand what these expectations are. Art of handshakes and introductions. We need to understand that we need to have a good handshake, the way to introduce. Art of exchanging business cards. We will talk about that shortly. Telephone etiquette, meeting etiquette, email etiquette, and conclusion. So this is what we are trying to say. We need to have certain etiquette and manners at workplace. Well, now we are going to talk about how to have a good handshake. It's very essential you pay a lot of attention to this particular part of the module, which will really help you have a good corporate career. In a handshake, the most important thing is you always need to do a handshake with your right hand only. Never ever do a handshake with your left hand. It's not professional. Our right hand needs to go up in a very vertical fashion. So when you move your hand, you need to take it out from here and not like this. So when you take your hand out, you need to have a handshake like this. Make sure that you are able to hold the other person's hand in a crisp and clear manner. There should not be any sweaty palms. You should not be having any kind of dirt or dust on your hands. And always do a handshake in a very firm manner. Pump 2 to 3 times from the elbow. So when I'm trying to do a handshake, I will pump 2 to 3 times, look into the eyes of the person, smile and then do a handshake. That's a correct way to do a handshake. Well, if I have to say, Should you remove the hand first when you're doing a handshake with a woman? Yes. If you are doing a handshake with a lady, always make sure that you hold your hand out and grasp the lady's hand in a very gentle but a firm manner. It's important to have a good handshake and a firm handshake that talks about your confidence level. So go out there and try and do as many handshakes as you can to understand this. Next, we are going to talk about how to exchange business cards. Well, business card is the most important thing at a workplace. How you need to exchange the business card is very essential to understand. Always hold the business card with both the hands, never ever with the left hand only or the right hand. It's important to hold it at the very tip of the business card, and you should always give out your business card by bending a little bit forward. This shows humbleness. Now, the person whom you're giving the business card to, your card should be facing that person and not something facing you, because the person would have to turn the card and see, which can be quite a task. So always make sure that the person's name, logo of everything of the company is facing the person whom you're giving the card to. This way. Well, the person who's exchanging the business card or who's receiving the business card needs to again receive it with both the hands and always look down upon the card and give a slight comment, something like, "Oh, that's a nice card. That's a beautiful logo that you have." Saying a comment always makes the other person feel appreciated. So that's the way to exchange a business card, and make sure you always have a card holder or a card case in which you can just slide your business card into. That's very essential. Do not always put it into your wallet or put it in an area wherein you will have difficulty finding the person's business card. Well, now we are going to talk about meeting etiquette. When you start working in a corporate world, there will be a lot of meetings that you would need to go for. Now, meetings are an area wherein you have to make a good impression. You can either do things which will break your impression, or you do things which will make a good impression of yourself. So let's understand what kind of manners or etiquette you should have in a meeting. The first thing is you need to be on time for a meeting. Never ever arrive late, even by 5 minutes for a meeting. That can be a big blunder. In fact, I would advise by saying that arrive 15 minutes early or 10 minutes early for a meeting. The second thing you need to make sure in a meeting is always carry a notepad and a pen. It's really ridiculous to ask your neighbor for a notepad and pen when you're in a meeting. So always carry your own. The third thing is always have your phones on silent. During the meeting, you don't want your phone ringing and interrupting everybody else. The fourth thing is you need to make sure that you are a good listener in a meeting. Do not interrupt someone when they are talking. Give a patient hearing to everyone. The fifth thing is try and ask as many questions as you can. Clarify all your doubts in a meeting. However, one word of caution here, don't ask too many questions because you might hog the limelight by asking too many questions. In fact, it's better to wait for the meeting to be over and then request the host of the meeting if he can answer all your questions. So let's try using these meeting etiquettes which we have just specified right now. The next thing we will talk about is telephone etiquette. Now, when you're working in a workstation or a bay area, it's important to have good telephone etiquette. Here I'm talking about your own cell phones. Try not talking for a very long period of time on your phones while you are at work. It does not give a good impression. All your long chats and long phone calls can wait after the work is over. The second most important thing is try and keep your phones at a low volume. You don't want loud blaring ringtones to disturb everyone while they are working. It's important to keep your conversations short and to the point. Also, it's important to introduce yourself whenever you're picking the company's phone. When you're picking up a landline, introduce yourself, introduce the company and say, "How may I help you, sir or madam?" Well, it's also important and it's extremely essential to make sure that your telephone calls do not stretch for hours and hours just because it's a company phone. That is not ethical at all. When you're on the phone, mind your body language. Sit up straight, mind your posture and your gestures. If you are in an angry mood, do not attend a phone call because you might end up using a very harsh or a nasty tone on your customers. So it's important to remember all these points with regards to telephone etiquette. I hope you keep in mind all of these. Well, anything related with the corporate world is incomplete if we do not speak about business communication. Emails have become the most important way of communicating at a workplace setting. Let's understand what email etiquettes are. Well, it's important to write meaningful subject line. Do not write a subject line which is very unclear, has to describe what your email is about. Also, do not have subject lines very small like a hi or a hello, or do not have a subject line which is very lengthy. Keep it short and to the point. Keep the message focused. Do not beat around the bush. Come to the point clearly and focus on that. Avoid too many attachments. Well, it's important to understand you cannot really too much of attachments on your mail because it might look not very professional. Be kind. Also, don't flame. Understand that an email, you're not really seeing the person. So, your tone of an email will describe what kind of a person you are. Keep your tone soft and to the point and very subtle. Respond promptly. Well, email etiquette protocol says you should get back to a person within 24 hours of receiving the email. So let's understand it's important to respond promptly. If you think you will take longer period of time, please make you sure that the person understands you will take a little while longer and intimate them. Proofread your documents. The most annoying thing is receiving an email from a person with a lot of grammatical mistakes and spelling errors. You must always proofread your emails before sending the hit button. Well, we are coming to the mantras of having a successful corporate career, and let's understand what these mantras are. Expose yourself to successful people. Be around people who are successful or who strive for success. Never ever gossip. People don't like being around gossip mongers. It's important to understand not to gossip at your workplace. Challenge yourself continuously. Get out of your comfort zone. I would say this is very essential. Try and explore new opportunities. Try and be as creative as you can. Maintain good relations with bosses and colleagues. Please do not try and pamper your bosses and colleagues to get your work done. It's important to be honest and very true to your colleagues and to your bosses. Again, do not flatter your bosses. People can read between the lines. Don't flatter your bosses. Personal integrity is very crucial, so never ever go down or compromise on your values, your principles and your ethics. Always be punctual. We have already specified that. Never take things personally. In a corporate world, there might be certain allegations thrown at you. Sometimes you might not have completed a work on time, for example, but never ever take anything in a personal manner. Remember, the more you let it affect you, the more you will get affected. Well, this brings us to the end of our module today on campus to corporate. We have learned a lot of things, how to have a smooth transition from the campus world to the corporate world, and I really hope that you will use all these which we have spoken about, be it with regards to email communication, be it with regards to telephone etiquette, meeting etiquette, everything that we have discussed today. Please make sure that you follow all of these if you want to have a great smooth transition from the campus to the corporate world. Thank you so much for watching us. Do like us and share your feedback wherever you want to. Thank you and have a great day.